With Odell Barnes REO coming back at you. And today I want to talk to you about using your IRA to invest in real estate. And it is one of the coolest things that you could do because it has just tremendous tax advantages that allow you to keep more of your money. And a lot of people don't realize that you can actually use your retirement account to invest in things other than the stock market, bonds, mutual funds, things like that. So your stockbroker isn't going to tell you, neither is your financial advisor. Believe me, I was one for years. We never brought up using a self-directed IRA because it didn't pay us. So you really want to make sure that you're educated on this and talk to your CPA about it or your accountant. Full disclosure, I am not one, but I understand the basic concepts of how this works, and you're going to get some basic insight tonight on how you can use your IRA to really supercharge your retirement by investing in real estate. So I'm going to give you an example, and this is just a straight example, but let's say, for instance, that I had $100,000 in my either IRA or Roth IRA. Now, in case you don't know the difference between an IRA and a Roth IRA, basically a traditional IRA will allow you to put money in before tax, and then at some point when you pull the money out, you will be taxed at your tax bracket at that time. Roth IRA, my favorite IRA, will allow you to put money in after tax, and then you're never taxed on that money again. So when you pull it out in the future, you could be in a 0% tax bracket figuratively. So it's a pretty cool tool. So let's say, for instance, I take $100,000 that I have sitting in my IRA, and I decide I'm going to buy a package of properties, okay? So we buy properties in bulk from banks and auction companies, so we happen to do this all the time. So take this $100,000 and I'm going to buy a package of, let's just say, to make the math easy, 10 properties, okay? If I take those properties, and let's say I'm into flipping properties, okay, and I turn those properties over and I make, I don't know, $50,000, okay? Okay, so if I make $50,000 in profit, meaning I make all my $100,000 back plus an additional $50,000, then that means if I'm not using this tool, an IRA, then I'm going to have to pay a short-term capital gains tax, okay, which is today is taxed as regular income. So that could be anywhere from 15 to 35, almost 40%, depending upon where your tax bracket is, okay? Now, if I keep these properties longer than a year, my tax bracket goes down to 15% on a long-term capital gains, depending upon what kind of income I'm on that. All right. So it's a significant savings if I hold on to these properties for at least a year, but I don't want to do that. My interest is getting the property, selling it, moving on, and doing this, repeating this process again and again. All right. So what this does is if I use my IRA to do this, I can take this money, 50,000, all 50,000 of it, and roll it back into my IRA, okay? So I'm not going to be taxed right now at all, okay? So if I have a traditional IRA, I'm going to put that 50,000 back in. Now I've got 150,000, and at some point I'm going to have to pay tax when I pull that money out as regular income, but I'm not having to pay that short-term capital gains tax right now. So figure if I'm in a 30% tax bracket, I just saved myself $15,000 in taxes. Pretty cool. So if I have a Roth IRA, the power is incredible. I get to take that entire $50,000, put it back into my $100,000 Roth IRA, and I'll never be taxed on it. That is super, super powerful. It's an amazing weapon if you're a real estate investor. So if you're not educated on how to use a self-directed IRA, there's a lot of great companies out there that you can check out. New View IRA is an example here in Florida, but there's self-directed IRA providers all over the country that can really help you out. So imagine compounding this number just over and over and over again on a monthly or annual basis, and you will see some significant return. So if you're thinking about alternatives to the stock market or bonds or mutual funds, where you have a little bit more control over what happens with your money, this is a great thing to look at. I mean, one of the things that you give up when you invest in a stock or let's say a mutual fund is you have no control over that. You don't control how they run the company. You don't control which funds they pick. You don't control the expenses per se. You don't control the dips and all that. But here with real estate, the thing I love about it is I can touch it. I can feel it. It's mine. I can turn it into income if I want to. And let me hit on that real quick before I close up. Let's say, for instance, I don't want to flip the property. I want to take that property and make it into either a rental property or a seller financed property. All the income that kicks off every single month or every year goes back into my Roth IRA and it goes back in there tax-free. So if you're in a position where you're getting ready to retire and income is a concern because now all of a sudden I'm going to be on a fixed income, this is just an additional way to generate monthly income back into your IRA that you can pull out and have great tax advantages. So if you've got questions about this, obviously you can shoot us a message and we'll try to steer you in the right direction with some self-directed IRA providers that you can talk to. But also talk to your accountant, your CPA, and ask them, why have you never told me about this? All right. So I think it's a great question to ask, and ask your financial advisor why they've never told you about it. I'll tell you the answer. They will lose commission. That's why they're not telling you about it. Okay. So again, any questions about this strategy or investing in properties that we buy or even funding your own package of deals, you can definitely talk to us and we would love to answer any questions that you have and help you out however we can. All right. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. Have a good one.